So right now I'm just going to work on the top part of this. And what are we going to do? Exactly. No holds barred. Okay, what's going on here is, it's something that I should show you. Taking this stuff on, my God. See how much falls down. It's crazy. Well, you could use your blending stub, but I found, I hate to say it, I found that my finger, like this, really helped it better. And I wanted you to see that. And this is something that, if you're going to do, make sure your hands are washed so your oils don't go on here. But also, when you're applying the charcoal, you see how it's I don't know if you can see that. See that? Let's see if I can have you see this. Yeah, look at that. Very sharp. So when I was applying the charcoal, I just consciously knew that I wanted to sharpen it at the same time. So I got this puppy really sharp. So that's the one thing I wanted to show you. But the other thing was, my God, you know, like my hand was the better device. My finger. So I mean, don't use your whole hand. You know, you can maybe get away with using your thumb or your index finger, like that. So I wanted you to see that. So I'm not going to lie to you. I use the hand. I use the finger to blend. And for that back area. I had a little problem in this area here because I wanted to show some light glowing from behind the nest, and so that's what I did here, and the rest I darkened it. There's something really beautiful going on here. I like the mysterious glow from the back of this nest, and I'm really into that, so I'm going to push that. And you can see it. And then there's another strand of grass kind of come in like that. There's something that's really cool. It kind of loops around like this, and it goes around like this, and it comes down like this, and it comes back in like that. So yeah, it's just really cool what I'm seeing. About the best I can fit in there. It's a lesson for us. Don't cram stuff in. Let it move out of the bounded area. Let it bleed off the page. Great photographers do that all the time. There's something else right here. Watch what I can do with this eraser right here. I want to get see that? There's something there. And then I can also go like that. And I see that there. I'm not guessing that. I go, wait a minute, there's that, and then there's one more, like right here. Now you're going to see something really interesting here. I think that this should be over here. So look at what I'm going to do. I don't know if you can see what I'm going to do. I need you to see this. You're going to watch this in real time. I'm totally into the creative license, but I'm trying to show you something. So look at this. The white eraser. Kind of cool, right? Look at that. But it's too busy. I want to get rid of this one. See, what's happening is I'm actually... See, instead of erasing a mistake, I just drew where I want it to go. And then I look at it, and then I go, okay, now I'm going to come like that and fix up this. So I wanted you to see that in real time. So it begs to... So it brings us to where we're going to go next, and that is the nest. We are going to come into the nest right now. This thing really helped. Little bugger there. See that? That's why we can't be afraid, you know. Looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Let's go like that. And come in like this. Working on the background first, right? And then the top part of the nest. Again, you might want to be choosy about what to use at what time. You might want to put that pencil down and pick up this charcoal stick and come in here. Light at first, because I've been correcting some mistakes of late, right? It happens. At least I'm making most those discoveries. I'm really happy with what's going on there. Hope you like it too. Something's going on there. It's kind of neat. See, this here has to come up a little bit like that. See, I'm really spending the time on this. The reason why is because this is silhouetted on the, you know, this is called a reverse silhouette. You know, it's light with the black background, reverse silhouette. So your eyes are going to go here. You know, I don't care what anybody says. Your eyes are going to go here. And that's important, probably more than the seashell. So I got to really pay attention to the fidelity here. What is happening? So I like this. It kind of comes up like this, and then it comes down like that, because it's like a fold. There's a fold in that grass. It folds. See that? And this, so what happens is it kind of goes like this, and it pops up like that. There's a little tip there, and it folds down like that. That's what we're trying to accomplish. There's something here that doesn't need to be there. And this is a little bit different. This has a fold that's really not there. I don't know if I should get rid of it or not. Yeah, it kind of bugs me. So what do we do about it? So like, I'm gonna buy into this parabolic curve. There, like that. And then I'm gonna come in here and close it up at the top. So I don't want to be lazy. You know, sometimes I get lazy and I go, well, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to leave it. In other words, I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it. And then I regret it when it's done. It's like, I see it hanging in the gallery, you know, in the exhibit. There's a little bit of variation of value here. It's a little tricky, you know. And then there's another thing going on that I have to include. There is another grass like that, and it's so cool. I gotta put it in there. I didn't forget it. It's not like you have to draw every little thing in. And that's where painting comes in. You could paint that, you know, like just freehand paint that. But we got our tools. Charcoal's great. We can do it. And what's really cool is you're seeing how we can remove, we can subtract. That's part of the beauty of this. Now I'm telling you right now, you can't do this with drawing paper. You cannot do this kind of charcoal activity on charcoal paper. You won't be able to erase it like that. Ain't gonna happen. If you are, you're probably pressing really hard. You're doing something that's uncomfortable. People accomplish things that I say you can't. You know, I'm not like Mr. Know-It-All, but I know that, drawing on regular drawing paper with charcoal, it works, you can do it, but it's like, ugh. There it is, and that's pretty hip. And, yeah, it's pretty cool. And let's see. I believe in happy accidents. I don't mind using happy accidents. Degas was against accidents. Even Jackson Pollock said he denies the accident. I kind of take that with a grain of salt. If you see his paintings, how is he denying the accident? I think he's incorporating the accident. Here I am correcting Jackson Pollock, who I thought was brilliant. But I think he should have said, I incorporate the accident. You know, Degas was an amazing draftsman. He totally denied the accident. Everything he did, every mark he made, you know, he was like that. He was an incredible draftsman. You'll see what I mean when you look at his drawings. Beautiful pastel drawings. And he did paintings. But yeah, he's famous for his ballet dancers. His pastel drawings are impeccable. X marks the spot. Let's see. You'll see what we're going to do with that in a minute. Yeah, these little grassies are really taking up my time, but so be it. I'm going to make them really do something. So this has to overlap like this. goes on like black butter. Overlapping of the blade of grass and then the cast shadow of the little grass happening right there. So you see how we're using these 3 different erasers, the pink, the white, and the kneaded. And they all come in handy at a certain point in time. See that? They all do their job at some point in time. I'm going to steal from here and move in here. See how I did that? I lifted from here and I came in here like that. It's not a big whoop, but I thought it'd be cool to see, for you to see that. See right here, and I go like that. I wonder if there's a name for that, where you borrow from an area and you use that in the blender to draw with it in another area. Is there a word for that? I don't know. See how it's kind of fuzzy there. It's not, you know, it's not up to snuff. You know, don't compromise, man. Get it. I'm gonna come in here and fix that up. Talking some discipline here, you know. This is what's supposed to keep us out of wars, you know. Drawing is a type of meditation. And there's like this little dark area that I love that. You see, I think there's something to be said about that. This area here needs to be pushed out just a little. This area shouldn't be all black. So we're going to fix that right now. Again, pink eraser is great for this type of activity. That's pretty good for now. Now we're going to go inside this part of the bowl that makes up the bird's nest. So this whole area we're going to work on right now. And I'm just going to go in with the compressed charcoal at this point. Sometimes I use the vine charcoal just to visualize things. And then I wind up sometimes brushing it out anyways, and then I proceed with the compressed. It's not really wasting time because you're visualizing. You know, it does help you as you move along. But with this one, we're not going to do that. We're just going to go right into the compressed charcoal application. And what I'm doing now is I'm just figuring out if I use a tip or the side of my charcoal. The entire side won't really work. I want to kind of come in here. Well, actually, let me see. I might be able to get away with that. I did say try to use the biggest part first. It kind of works, but I want to work with the hatching technique instead. See, I want to come in here like that. I think that's more effective. And that's what I'm gonna do. See that? Come in here. There we go. All right. I'm going to pay attention to the edge more or less. There's something going on here. This individual blade of grass extends over here, and we get something like this. See that? And this blade of grass comes out like that. This over here should be trimmed down just a little bit. So it's looking better. And even this can be done. There we go. I hope I'm not in the way. At this point, less talking, more drawing. Just follow along. I want you to see as much as you can as I proceed with this still life. This little piece of grass that overlaps like that. This part's kind of tricky, and I think that we have to carry this further out. This blade of grass comes out like this. There we go. The leaning stick really helps to support, or a cane. You could use a cane or any kind of piece of wood or a stick that's perfectly straight. This one's specifically made for the task. Now the shadow area is going to be like this. Kind of creep like that. And then like that. So this part here will be in shadow. And instead of just going like this, I kind of want to work with a directional flow, so I'm using a type of wrapping, more or less, very conservative form of wrapping, but it's still wrapping. And I wonder if I want to make that seashell bigger. Like if I measure it, it looks like my little guy is just too small. It should come out, it should extend out to here and to here. And I don't know why I did this. I totally spaced it out. And it just goes to show you that you put something down for a day and come back to it, you might make a huge discovery. So I think I made one. So look what I just did. You see how I just expanded this thing on all the sides, measuring it. You know, like it should almost fit like that, and you know, that kind of thing. It was just a little bit too small. I might have made it a little bit too big just now, but we'll tame it in. We'll tame it. We'll let it know what's up. Yeah. So again, diagonal lines to help out the form. There we go. That's a little bit better. You'll make all sorts of discoveries like that as you go. Even though as you follow all the precautions as you build up your drawing, you'll still find discrepancies. And the thing is, don't just let them go. You know, try to address them as you find them. So I'm going to come down here. It's a little bit different, you know, again, like this goes up higher, so I'm really making some headway here in improving my efforts. Unless there's a gremlin changing my still life when I'm sleeping, I've got to fix these things. So let's do this. Let's do just that. See that? We'll get darker later. Yeah, I kind of feel like I made that too big. I keep contradicting myself. There is a cool blade of grass like right here like that, and it's going to overlap the seashell and kind of come down like this, kind of running parallel with this thicker blade of grass. So I just use a single stroke to describe it, and we'll see what we can do with it as we finish up this area. The rest is just like I'm gonna finish this still life, and then you have the pear, the bird's nest with the shell, the grapes, and then this still life. And these are all examples of drawing from life. Now, if you review all those videos, you'll see how I'm consistent in my handling of the materials, and in particular charcoal line, this charcoal paper. I think, people ask me like, here's my first drawing of a pear, how do I improve it? And I do address specific things like, bring out the coarse shadow. Maybe you shouldn't use scribbling technique to draw the pear. Maybe you should use a wrapping shading technique, And then the rest is like, well, do another one, and then use these techniques to draw different things. Like instead of drawing a pear, and try an apple. Then instead of an apple, try a vase, And the only difference will be texture. And I know that I might have to do a separate video on different textures, but right now I'll just say that there's like a whole bunch of different textures that objects have, and so you just gotta just copy those textures as best you can as you use my drawing technique that I'm showing you here to draw the object in question. Like if you're drawing something that has like a chrome type surface, it's highly reflective. Well, you're gonna see how certain kinds of techniques won't lend to that, and others will. And so you just kind of play with it, the idea is you're trying to describe visually what you're looking at as best as you can, right? And so you got to use some thinking, you got to use some planning, and you got to have patience and diligence just to keep trying it. I'm going to try to draw this wine bottle. How are you gonna draw a wine bottle based on these techniques? I submit that these four videos, when this one's done, will give you everything you need to know to be able to draw a fairly decent wine bottle. Let alone the bird's nest and everything here. It is going to be up to you from here on out. As we get into different videos, I do want to do a couple more of the same vein, and I know I'm going to have like a lot more single objects to draw. Like I just don't have the time to do it in this whole semester. I just don't have the time to do it in this 8-week semester. But I anticipate making more videos on drawing specific single objects and more still lifes. And then, move on from there. Immediately I need to do other kinds of videos, like one on perspective that ought to be interesting. And I think, thinking out loud, I might be using a different materials, like say graphite instead of charcoal. That might work. You can do the same thing with charcoal, but mainly it's going to deal with how perspective can affect your drawing. So we'll see how that goes. But right now we're back on this particular problem of drawing this nest. You can see there's kind of some strands happening using this wrapping technique. And I kind of like the texture of the paper, kind of giving it that grit. And also I think scribbling is good for this area. So you might not want to use scribbling for the shading of the grapes, but you might want to use scribbling for the shading of that. And you use like something else, like for the seashell here. Keep it descriptive, like scribble seems to work for a bundle of grass than it does for a smooth side of a seashell. You see, that's how you want to think these things out. There'll be a time when I come in with my pencils, my charcoal pencils, and then the white charcoal pencil too. There's all these neat things that we still need to do. The idea is to be systematic. Like, don't go back and forth with the white charcoal now, boom, 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 and the pencil, and then you go crazy. You just kind of be systematic. Use only this, and move out, and then go back with the pencil, and then go back with the white pencil. You'll have a better time of it if you have some type of a rhythmic pattern or system. we tend to decreate what we've originally started. You know, we start something, we ruin it, and we start it again, and it's like you could have flowed better if you had a plan. And that's why all this is put together for you, as opposed to just like, you know, cold turkey, just drawing a still life. Because if I were trying to do this cold turkey, I'd be figuring it all out, and it'd be more of a struggle. And it might not even turn out at, well, I'm going to do it again, you know. Because, like, you could wear out your paper, erasing and redrawing and erasing and redrawing. You're going to have ghosts of previous images. You're going to have damaged paper as you keep going. You got to plan this stuff out. And there's also this psychological thing. You just get tired. You know, you're tired of working on the same image. And then you just kind of give up. You kind of subconsciously throw in the towel. Well, it's the best I can do. But no, you could have probably done it way better if you had a better game plan. And that's what this is about, giving you those tools. Trying to keep my shoulders from getting in the way. So I hope that I'm succeeding in doing that. I hope you're seeing this. And I'm working on this area here, not below, because that's all cut off from the screen, I think. So we gotta focus in this area here mainly. Sometimes I'm tempted to use my pinky, but not too much pressure. See that? Seems to work kind of neat. See that little? Yeah, kind of weird how that worked. The better you get, you'll learn how to make your art look like it's not overworked. You don't want your stuff to look so laborious, like you sweat over a hot easel. You know, like the greatest artists, they make it like so effortless, magical, and divine almost, you know, the divine Michelangelo. The curve is coming out. I'm beginning to smooth out the line. I'm beginning to smooth out the angles in this seashell for curves. This sort of happens organically, which is really cool. See, I kind of shave off. I put a little bit too much, now I'm shaving it back down. Yeah, I think that's working. That's looking okay. This gets a little darker in here as we build it up. Side of the charcoal, not the tip. So you see how we're doing that. I'm going to push it along a little bit. I just did the same thing that you already seen. I've used my compressed charcoal and my eraser to get it from here to here. Now I'm using my paintbrush, and I thought you'd like to see that, to tame it a little bit more, like right here, here. Paintbrush really does a lot for me in these charcoal drawings. See that? It's almost like paint. Pretty neat. The way I'm brushing is I'm going the same direction as the hatch marks, which is corresponding to the weave of the nest. See that? Now I think I'm going to come in there with the pencil, just for the sake of argument. Trying with the HB right now. Might be a little bit too light, but I'm curious about it. I'm going to see what I can do with it. There we go. kind of tricky, you know. There's actually two blades of grass here. One here and then one here, but it looks like it's the same one in my drawing. It really messes me up. Situations like that, I like to be ambiguous. Where it can kind of be both. Just throws me off big time. There's some discrepancy, you know, but the blades look good where I put them. You know, it's not exact, but it's close. And it's just one of those things, you know, just let it, you know, see what works for you. This here winds up being darker. Kind of don't really see it in the original. But this here is lit up like that, so that's pretty cool. Getting a lot of training in when you're drawing like this, doing these objects. And the weirdest thing is that if you do a lot more stuff like this and you want to get into comic book art, your comic book art will be a lot better than somebody who just draws comic book art. See, if you want to just do like one thing and you stick with that, you'll get good at it, but it'll be flat, it'll be one-dimensional, it's like one-sided. You have to become rounded, full rounded. So do comic book art, you should learn to draw like this. It will strengthen your comic book art big time. There was an old art instructor at this design tech school I used to work at, and he was a professional illustrator, and he went to art school before there was laptops or any kind of CGI, and so he taught drawing at the school like I did. And so he did a drawing of a human eye in, like, say, pencil or charcoal or something. And then he did another one similar to it in CGI. And he made a poster, and the poster was like this. It had, like, on the left the pencil drawn eye, human eye, and then on the right it had a picture of the CGI version of that eye. And he said, if you can't do this, you can't do this. Or if you don't know how to do this, you won't be able to do this. So he was saying, if you can't do the traditional drawing type stuff, you know, how are you going to be really good at your computer art? And, you know, in a sense, he was right, you know. We always had debates on that at the school and abroad, but technically, I think he's right. I'd go with that school of thought. I want to put another one right here. It's not even, I don't know if I should, but I just kind of screams like I should. This will be darker. Yeah, the HP is working pretty good for these areas. A lot of craziness going on here. This is part of the bird's nest that I'm pointing at. See, that's part of the bird's nest. It's dark and shadow. I really hit the chiaroscuro there. And I'm going to have to go back with the darker charcoal in a minute. Right. Well, actually, let's do it right there. Let's work on that. Let's get some 4B action with the pencil. Let's see what we can do with that. I'm going to come over here. I'm not really close up in my work. I'm standing from a distance, and it's kind of hard to hold the pencil steady like I am doing, but I can do it. It took me time, you know, and this is something I encourage you to try too. That's why standing, I am standing. I'm working on this with the aid of an easel, and it's all vertical. Some of us are probably sitting on our bed or something and drawing, and I'm telling you, that's okay for sketching and all that and goofing around, but you know, I just can't see Rembrandt doing an oil painting sitting on his bed. You know, maybe sketching, sure. Have a hot toddy and do a sketch in your sketchbook of the foxes and the foxhounds, and think about the Earl of Grey. So yeah, just try standing, and you know, it's kind of disciplinary, you know. You gotta push yourself to get these results. So I think that something's going on here. This cuts down right here. It goes like that. And then this is the second one. And it kind of curves around like this. Glad to have been able to find that out. Just paying attention. There's a lot of stuff going on with this nest. And even though you're looking at it, you're looking right at it, your brain can't make sense of it. It's crazy. It's a very crucial area. Some of this stuff doesn't exist. I'm creating the idea of how straw works and then putting it in there, and it's a little bit different than what I'm looking at. Not completely off, but it's totally different. It's different enough to notice it. And let's see. Now I'm going to support my hand using my stick here. See, this piece of grass and this arch exists, but this grass in the real picture is more at an angle. And I don't know if I have to fix that. That's kind of like, to me, it's not a big deal. So I want that to be a point that you can glean something from. This, you know, I decided to keep it as is. This, although it stops here, I'm gonna show an extra little piece of it here to show some overlap. So that was my little creative license again happening there. You know, so I invite you to look for those opportunities. I wouldn't change too much though from what you're looking at. I really try to stick to that. Really tricky area right here, let me tell you. This is not an easy still life. So I'm giving you something that's probably more considered an advanced drawing. This is like maybe an intermediate. So I tend to push people, you know, and it's good to be challenged so you don't get bored. You know, after you get really good at doing a still life with this material, you can go in a couple of different directions. One is get into like figure drawing and drawing wildlife, animals and that, and then you start creating stuff from your imagination. Also get into architecture and perspective. And then the other direction you can do is say, okay, well, I'm going to now draw this still life with pen and ink, and or colored pencil. So what happens is you can do the same kind of a subject matter but with different materials, and the thing is you'll get different effects with different materials. Like, how would this look like if it was pen and ink? So that's the kind of thing. And then there's also printmaking. You know, you can get into intaglio, and that's with acid biting activity on a plate of copper and stuff like that. You get into lithography. I've done all these things in art school. I've taken intaglio, I've taken lithography, and that's how you can extend your drawing skills into printmaking and stuff like that. There's always that. Now I think what I'm going to do is probably have to just maybe finish up the nest and then turn the camera back on, because you're getting the idea, right? How to do the nest. Although this area would be cool to see you draw. I might show you a couple of these little parts here, but we're still just, you know, kicking away. I want you to see this, and I think I'll try to, you know, I won't rob you completely. You know, you'll see me, you know, hitting it with the white pencil in the end, anyways, because I'm not going to hit any of this with the white pencil until I'm done with the whole thing. So you'll be able to see that, but you're getting the idea, right? And like for instance here, it's kind of a discrepancy what's going on there. So I have to deal with it. Like, is that going to be light or is that going to be dark, and you know, that kind of thing. And I think that what happens is I need to have some more straw in this area here, like that, and then I can come in here and fill it in. Okay, that's what we have so far for the inside of the bowl of the bird's nest. It needs a little bit more cleaning up, but what I want to do is I want to zoom in on the seashell. And we're going to take a look at finishing that. So what I'm going to do is, there's two ways to start this. Like with a middle tone, I'm going to establish that there is a type of middle tone. There's no white areas in the seashell right now. One way to do this is by hitting the highlights right now, or the darks. I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to go with the darks immediately. See what trouble we can get into. So that's going to be, there's like an opening of the seashell. Where a crab can go in. I'm going to draw through the form lightly to show the structure or the anatomy of the seashell, like that. And then this dark area carries over, like this. It's making sense, I hope. There is a blade of grass that overlaps here and one over here. So I can indicate it lightly here, right now. And I can even do this with my eraser. See the beauty of the kneaded eraser? I can draw with it. We're drawing with it right now. There we go, see that? It's pretty cool. And this part of the seashell is lit up, but we're going to hold off on that. So I want to show you that right now. See, I'm drawing through the form right now. I'm drawing through the grass to show you the shape of the shell. And I'm also drawing through the nest. See that? It kind of like, it has this, now the curves are coming in full force. It goes like that and it tucks in like that. And then this part comes out like that. And that's the opening of the seashell where a crab could come in or crawl in. See that? That really does help me figure it out. Now, we take an HB and we proceed to draw the details of the shell. There's, well, let me do this first. This has to be cleaned up right here. And this has to be cleaned up. And I'm not even making the highlights right now. This sort of creeps out of the dark area. See, that just kind of comes out of this dark region right here. And that line doesn't belong there. Right here. I don't know what that is. Hope I'm not in your way. But you're seeing all this. So let's see, now the HB action. You can kind of like figure out how these painted features of the seashell drop onto the form. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just making these single lines. Some people say use vine charcoal, and that's, I totally would say, yeah, you might want to use vine charcoal for this. I'm kind of cutting to the chase and just going with it. Not guessing either. I see where it's supposed to go. See that? Now I can come in and add the detail. I recommend an HB for this part. See that? I want you to see all of that, so I'm going to do the whole seashell in here. I might not do the white charcoal pencil yet, but I'm doing everything else. You'll see the white charcoal pencil when the whole thing is pretty much completed. I think this should have been a little bit more to the left, but it's still okay. See that? We got to deal with that blade of grass overlapping in front of the shell. You're going to see that too. See, all that has to be done. But there's an indicator for where that grass goes. Right here, see that? And then this grass goes here like that. Now, a couple of things. Here, this part of the shell is in shadow. Remember, this is all overlap. The blade of grass goes in front of that part of the shell. It looks kind of funky, doesn't it? And I almost want to correct something. This kind of goes more to the right. And the reason why is like this shell, this is close to the picture plane, but as you follow my finger here, this part goes back into space. Because remember, it's a seashell that is spiral, so the other end of the shell is, you know, right here where my finger is getting to be. And so I gotta respect that and get a little indicator of that. From how I see it, that's what's going on. And then there's a piece of grass here that makes it look like it's a shadow, but it's really a piece of grass, and that's what's throwing me off. Sometimes you gotta walk up to your still life and really, you know, and then go back. That happens, and if you're doing that, then you're actually doing it correctly. You really want to know what you're drawing and why is that effect there. What are you seeing? What is it? And then you get to go there. You gotta get in there. You gotta get closer to your subject and study it. This is major study. I'm studying how a seashell works and looks and everything. You know, the grass and the nest and everything. This is a concentration. This is study. A lot of things going on here. See that? Now I could probably help it out with this. Right now. And the blade of grass is not this white. We know that. But we'll deal with that after. And let's see. There's this to deal with. See how you can do that? This kneaded eraser this is the power of the kneaded eraser. This is why I tell students, get yourself the kneaded eraser. See that? And then there's this grass here, and this grass overlaps this grass. So this grass goes like this, and it cruises on. Well, just kind of stops here, like so. Are we done with the shell? Not necessarily. And before I do any blending, I'm just going to still use my pencil action, because there's still stuff to be said here. And then this here, let's get rid of that part right here. Like this here, like that doesn't exist. And the thing is, just to be on the safe side so we don't get confused, this is darker. So it kind of helps us differentiate the nest from the shell. So I'm going to leave it like that, and then there's a little bit of a chip in the shell right here, so I'm going to indicate that right here. See that little bump upward? Now as I do that, I'm going to start incorporating the highlights of the shell. Kind of go in like a wrap motion with my eraser like that, and then I go like that as well with my eraser. So I'm not all over the place, you know. I have some kind of a plan. See how we're doing that with the eraser? Hope you can see that. I zoomed in with the camera, so my God, I don't know what my hand's doing. don't know what it looks like, but I know that the camera is just right here. So I don't know, I hope that you get this. Pretty little seashell. Area's almost done, except for the white charcoal pencil. Okay. I want to move all over the place on this drawing, but I can't. I want to focus on the seashell so you can see it. Really paying attention to the fidelity of this thing. See, there's like for every band, it's light, then really dark, and then gray. So it's like a light, dark, and then gray, light, dark, gray, light, dark, gray. That's what I'm reading for these bands, or whatever you want to call them. See that right here? So now it's beginning to look like something. That it reads shell. And so, like, now I could probably take the blender. Actually, this is the tortillon if you want to be technical. And I can come in here and now when I blend, I'm not going like this. I'm going along the form of the shell like that. You could also go up from the dark into the light. You can do that too. Have some kind of an idea, you know, what you're doing. I don't think that white line exists too much. I gotta soften it. This is all soft and this is all soft. Gotta watch out for that. This is probably gonna be the monster video. The bird's nest alone was a monster video. I made it into 4 parts. God, I know what this is gonna be. This is a monster video, I can tell right now. You're seeing a lot of activity. You're seeing a lot of specific stuff. You're seeing a lot of detailed stuff. See that? And if you wanted, we gotta really work on that overlapping action here. This grass overlaps like this. And then this grass over here. And this has to be a little bit darker because the grass is supposed to be the thing that's light. That remains it, and I'm using the HB right here again, HB. And then here, I'm going to toy with the idea that this is going to be dark. Because what's behind it is light. It's crazy, it just flip-flops. And that's actually what I see when I look at the real thing. So you see that? This part here is a little bit darker. Not black, just dark. And then, and this overlaps the other grass, like that. And then this is going to happen like this. This is going to become darker in there, except for the 2 edges. See that? Yes. Looking good, looking good. Gotta know when you want to have things crisp and you want to have things blurred. Like for instance, I think that the grass should be really crisp, but the side of the seashell that's coming out of the dark should be blurred. So there's things that are happening here. You have to be mindful of them. This stops here. It's like it's broke. It's cut. See that right here? It just snapped. It's broke. It's cut. Be careful of the hard outlines. Sometimes, like this here, you see that black line? That's not even there. Like, what is that? So we have to deal with it. Little things start to really come apart, you know, when you're getting the rest of your drawing accurate and good. The things that are not that good will stand out like a sore thumb, and they can eliminate them. You can fix it. So like here, it's just dark all over the place. Like right here, it's dark. See that? And then here, it's going to go like this, and it's light right here. See that? Like that. And yep, this goes like this up against this other grass, like that. See that? It's fortunate the camera is zoomed in right in there, so you're actually seeing all that action. There it is. It's a lot of it is close to what we want. Sometimes my charcoal drawings look a little underexposed, so compensate. I just bring out some of the highlights. Like this has to be lighter. Well, you can't see that. So like the idea is to compensate for that by making the highlights lighter. Like for instance here, really pump that out. And I don't know, like that there, it's a little bit too light. Is it a seashell here? Pretty much. Something's going on there. A little tricky. No, that doesn't fly. Let's see. Yeah, we gotta do this. You'll see this little effect will fix everything right here. The power of one little thing will change everything in that area. Just that little white thing coming out like that, little highlight on the blade of grass, and then here, a little toned down a little bit, and it just fixes the whole thing. It's just weird. My God. And I imagine that with the white charcoal pencil, man, I'm so tempted to take it out now, but we'll hold off. It'll be even better, you know. It'll be even better. See this here? It's not a complete light thing. It's like it's gray. It's black, gray, light, gray, light, and light. Because it's a blade of grass. So it's like that. And so as it bends away, it's dark, and it goes like that. It's light, and then like that, it's gray. So let's pull the camera back, and you can see it happening. in that shaded area. It's a beautiful seashell. Well, wrong way.